Welcome, everybody. Tonight is the fourth of 6 online faculty meetings that we have throughout this semester. Tonight we're actually going to start with our moment of Zen from Ms. Kayla Hack. So we're going to go ahead and get started so that we may have enough time for our presenters and questions and then wrap up at the end. So Kayla, you have the floor.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for letting me go right away because I'll have to hop off early. But kind of a two-part moment of Zen of just like one really cool thing that's going on at the school, and then one like teacher, like take care of yourself thing. So the first is some of the younger handful of ladies in Lancaster County go and get their nails done, and we call it our monthly professional development event. And I've been able to be included in that group, and which is really encouraging and empowering to just be around them, and that I've been included as part of that group, and what it looks like to have friends and mentors as a new ag teacher, student teacher. So like that's really, really cool. But another, I guess, cool thing that this kind of ties into what we're talking about, but I wanted to do some vocab in a really unique way. And so if you've heard of the game Whatchamouth or Smart Mouth, Speak Out, it's called multiple different things, where you put the like weird retainer thing in your mouth and you try to say words that don't make any sense. Well, we did that with vocab today, and it was awesome. And although they're apprehensive at first, we laughed a lot, and I think that would have been, I could have done it in a lot of different ways, but that just made it a lot more fun, and got them engaged in a unique way. So that was my fun moment of Zen for the day, that it's okay to do crazy things because I need to laugh too.
Well, good. Thanks for sharing.
Hey, can I ask a question to Kayla?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kayla, so like I saw that photo on Twitter. I thought it was hilarious. But I have to ask, talk to me how you handle sanitation, or how do you keep this not being gross?
Well, I always put them in the dishwasher. Like I've used them before, but I put them through the dishwasher, and then I put them through the dishwasher and then washed them again. And I did it with 2 different classes today, but I have like 25 of them. So I was able to do them with 2 different classes and not reuse them. And then I'm going to throw them in the dishwasher tonight.
So each student has their own like mouthpiece.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no sharing
I'm
that.
like, dude, that's gross.
Make sure you maybe throw in some Clorox tonight.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thanks for sharing. It's definitely most important to give some time to yourself, to enjoy yourself, to keep yourself kind of centered and focused, and as well as trying new strategies and activities in your classroom that are fun, that make you laugh, that make students laugh. Always really good stuff. So thank you, Kayla. Mr. Ryder is on the schedule to provide our moment of Zen for our April 4th meeting. So, Mr. Ryder, I already told you that, but just in case you forgot in the last 5 minutes, there's your second reminder. All right, so tonight I'm really, really excited. We have 2 outstanding agri-science teachers here from Pennsylvania joining us, Ms. Diane Corman, who is from Penn Manor High School, and Ms. Krista Pontius from Greenwood High School. And I'm really excited because they're here tonight to share with us tips and tricks for technology. Both of them recently attended the Pennsylvania Educational Technology Expo and Convention, and so as part of their receiving funds from the center, they are kind of sharing out what they learned. They're sharing the wealth of how they use the funds from the center, and then sharing a reusable learning object. And so this is it. So we're recording it, and then we'll share it out. They're also, well, at least Krista, I forgot to ask Diane, but are joining us next week for the new and beginning teachers as well. So that being said, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to send it over to them.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Really excited to be here tonight and share some tips and tricks that we got at Pete and C I wasn't familiar with that acronym until I attended, but apparently if you're going to be truly technologically savvy in Pennsylvania, you need to know this called heat and seek. I knew that long before I did. So there is your first tip and trick of the night. We went.
All right, so
Okay,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Go for it, Krista.
One of the workshops that we attended was called Skype in the Classroom, and we were super excited when we left. And we just wanted to, I was actually just talking with my principal after school today, and I said, I honestly think I could teach my entire environmental science class from this platform, whatever the right word is. So we're really excited to share what we learned.
All right, so obviously I've been doing a little bit of technology stuff behind the scenes, and always kind of excited to whenever I see something that may be of like real applicable real life use. And not all technologies seem to be that way, but this is one that I feel like, especially if you have a wildlife class, an ecology class, like Krista said, that you can really go tomorrow and set up, or any of these that we're going to talk about today, and you can really use it. So what is Skype in a classroom? Obviously, you guys have heard of Skype. Maybe some of you have even had interviews. I know I had an interview when I transitioned from Juniata to Penn Manor via Skype. We've known it to be like a two-way, collaboration and communication device, but now they're kind of taking it to the next level. And one of those things where I think it's going to be more useful than just what we've used it before. So what it is it's completely free to educators, and it allows you to pretty much set up connections around the world. And, that's always pretty cliche. You hear stuff like sharing the world, but it really, really is. So it's going to come in 4 ways, and we're going to show you this here in a little bit, but this is just kind of breaking it down for you. They have available lessons. Now, they are just now kind of getting this off the ground, so there's not a huge amount of lessons out there. They're going to be more environmental based, but you're going to see that there's many, many topics available to you. There's going to be Skype collaborations. Like there's literally an example that they use where I believe a middle school teamed up with a class in Kenya, and they solved a water quality issue. So I think from an agricultural education standpoint, we're poised in the multifaceted curriculum that we teach to really, really maybe embrace some of those collaborations. So I know Chris and I already have like big plans. We also have virtual field trips where it goes beyond like the Google 3D and 360. I always say 3D for some reason. It also goes beyond like the virtual Google expeditions where you can literally be walking with the elephants in Africa. These are field trips that are actually conducted by experts in the field. So if you are teaching something about marine biology, you can literally be with Jacques Cousteau's son at the bottom of the ocean, and he's going to be talking about his research there. And so what we're going to talk about tonight too is Mystery Skype. This is a cool device that you can literally, if you're teaching maybe something about geography or something about an interest approach, just getting kids to communicate. I see this maybe being a cool tool for leadership class, where your students don't know who you're dialing into, but you can go through and ask some questions, and we'll talk about that later, and then the collaborations that I already talked about. So all you really need to do is have a Skype account through Skype Education, and you could even be a guest speaker. Chris, did you have anything to add to that?
Not yet. I'll just add a little bit later. You can just keep rolling.
Okay. Keep rolling. Okay. So here's some reasons, top 10 reasons we found. I think Krista found this about the top 10 reasons to use Skype. I'm a huge advocate of relevancy and in the classroom, and it really builds a community not only in your classroom, but it gives you some perspective. So if you read down through these, teaching empathy for others, what greater of an experience than to know what else is going on in the world than actually talking to the people that are living it. it really sets up your students to because we witnessed this firsthand. We had a mystery Skype in a workshop that we did. We ended up, I forget, talking to a group of middle students, I believe, in North Carolina. Krista, is that where they were? I think
Atlanta. They were in Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay, so I was one state off.
They beat us, by the way. The kids.
Yeah, they totally beat us. It was hysterical. So you get to kind of develop communication skills. They get to actually integrate technology. You know, that's one of my things that through this technology journey that I started a little while ago, you know, are we just substituting PowerPoint with, you know, dialing in somewhere, or, you know, is this something that you're actually integrating a technology? Real world scenarios. I mean, if you end up doing a collaboration with a water quality issue somewhere else in the world, that's a real life situation. And then it just really engages every student. I mean, I know in our workshop, there are adults, everything from school administration there to people like us that were classroom teachers, and we literally were acting like we were little kids trying to figure out where these kids were from. And, you know, there's a lot of various things that you can do. You don't have to necessarily Skype with a classroom. You could actually mystery Skype with an expert in a field, and you could do different scenarios like that. So there's a lot of neat things that are tucked away in this whole entire platform. So these are just what you'll see whenever we go here to the website. And, you know, these are the 5 areas: virtual field trips, Skype lessons, Skype collaborations, mystery Skype, guest speakers. These are all of the different things that you could schedule, you could set up, and you literally, really all that you need is an ID. And obviously you have to make sure that your time zone is entered in properly, and you can schedule all of these things. So I know in ag education from day one, you know, as I started teaching, there aren't a lot of specific resources out there that are packaged nicely together. We go on, you know, communities of practice, and we see those nice, neatly packaged lessons, but sometimes there's not a lot of huge topic-specific units out there or whatnot. And so you might think like, well, maybe I don't teach ecology specifically, but there's always these topics. So how does this pertain to me? So this is actually the filter that I'll show you here in a little bit about, and to try to search. This would be if I want to go into Skype in a classroom and I wanted to request a guest speaker. These are all the different subjects that I can pull from. And if you look over this, everything, engineering is in here somewhere on one of these platforms. We get into technology, science, reading and writing. I mean, you can pull from a lot of different areas: careers and management, business and entrepreneurship. So you would just click on one of these areas, and we can find these areas in all of the subjects that we teach. I mean, I have, you know, regardless of how you want to look at the classes you teach, they are multifaceted. So I think at this point, I'm going to try to jump back and go and show you what this looks like. What do you think, Krista?
That sounds good. I'm really excited while Di's doing that, as I was, and one of the things that we're going to talk about right away is field trips. You can see, sorry, stupid lights keep going off. One of the things we're going to talk about is field trips. And I'm really excited because next Friday, we are going to the World War II Museum in New Orleans, via Skype, of course, to learn about recycling during World War II. And so all I had to do was set up my profile, which took about 2 minutes. And then I went in, and you can actually see the calendar of the individuals that you're visiting. And as Di said, it is not a video. We actually scheduled a tour with an individual from the World War II Museum. So I'll be glad and anxious to tell you how that went. But all you do is you simply say, I'm interested in this time, this place, this location, and this time, and they emailed me back almost immediately, and we got it set up. And when you have a chance to dig in finally, when you have a chance to dig into this website, you're going to see how many opportunities you have and all the opportunities that you can take your kids to different places around the world. As long as I said, you do have to be careful about the time zone because it is live. It's not like you're watching a video.
All right, so this is probably the most complicated part of this entire process, this website. Now, if you look at this, and I don't know, I have a thing about clean, intuitive websites. So to me, this is a little complicated, but this is literally the most complicated of the entire system. Would you agree, Krista? This website's a little overwhelming. So over here, like if you look at this, Laura, can everybody see my screen, like the whole thing?
Yes,
or do I need to
I can.
condense it? Okay, so so over here in the left-hand side, you see a whole bunch of different things. This is like the landing site for this, because Microsoft bought Skype. That's why you're going to see Microsoft up here in the left-hand corner. So don't be afraid that like you got off on the wrong side of the tracks. Microsoft bought Skype, and so that's why you're going to see the Microsoft influence on this. So over here, getting started, but here you get to the lessons, and if you just click on this left hand, it's going to take you into what should be being able to search for, like Krista and I said already, don't have a huge database simulated yet because they're just starting to get this started. Like this is being new as far as a platform for you guys to utilize. So you should feel like, happy because you're like on the cutting edge right now. But this is what the Skype lessons look like. And then let's just hop down to maybe a guest speaker, because I feel like that's something you guys could use really immediately for this. So this is what most of the pages look like. These are like the little bios of the people. I mean, you can see everything here from, Australia, New Zealand. And then the nice thing about this is, if you look here, the name is here, the area, but then if they'll tell you where they are as far as time frame from you. So, you just have to like plan accordingly, or, I mean, obviously whenever you request this person, they're going to see the time frame, and the program will kind of take care of that scheduling issue, but it does give you that information up front. And so you could go up here to the filter, and you could click under subject, and then that's the screen that I already showed you previously with the different choices. I could just do science here, and if you were doing maybe a wildlife class with marine biology, you could Skype in with Busch Gardens penguin educator, and he could talk about their program there. And then some of them are just PhDs in different specialties around the world, and it might take a couple minutes, but just going through here and kind of reading some of these situations, and I really believe, like what Chris has said about, you could literally teach an ecology class out of this right now. I mean, they are set and ready to go with ecology.
One thing, Guy, about the time zones that I noticed for those of us who may be a little mathematically challenged, when you go in to set it up, it transfers it into your time zone, so there's not miscommunication. So obviously they've had those problems and they fixed it. So you really don't have to worry about it too much. So you don't have to count on your fingers 4 or 5 hours in advance or whatever.
Right. Sorry, my internet's slow apparently. Does anybody have any questions about this right now? Because I'm waiting for this to load.
Have you done anything with it on Skype Translator? Have y'all had any interactions with that?
No, but supposedly it's one-to-one. We were in a workshop having to do with that, but we haven't any direct dial-ins where that being used. But we did see a demo of that at our conference, and it's pretty miraculous. That and Google's platform. So it's almost instantaneous. They've got it to the point where it's almost instantaneous.
I have a question.
So, is it interactive enough that, because you said it's not just recorded, can students ask them questions, or can you send them questions or something like that?
Yes,
Yeah,
you're actually on Skype with whatever you're doing. So you're talking just like we are right now.
Awesome.
so
Thanks.
I'll play. Hopefully it'll work here when all the questions are in. I'll play a little video. It'll show an actual like mystery Skype where you can see what can happen. And there's some things that you might want to keep in mind if you set up these mystery Skypes, like you either ask yes or no questions, you have, proctors, like a specific questions. But here, I'll see whether or not the video will work.
In my classroom, I'll grasp onto any technology that can expand the kids' possibilities. Creator, come on up. Learning comes from a teacher that's willing to take a risk and do something new and bring in these powerful tools.
Hi, welcome to the Mystery Skype.
One of the key tools we're using right now is Skype to connect with other classrooms. It's so powerful to connect them beyond these four walls.
Are you in the United States?
This is a chance for the kids to connect with other students around the world.
Are you east of Mississippi? No.
It's a challenging game for them. They have to critically think.
It helps the kids understand other cultures in other countries.
Are you in the U.S.? No, we're not. Are you somewhere in Mexico? Yes.
It's a powerful tool to see kids learning from each other. Hey, Mateo, come on over. Bring those maps. To see their critical thinking process is far better than any test I can give them.
Because of Mr. Buckley, learning seems to be really fun. Just instead of the teacher telling you this is what we're going to be doing. It's a team effort to really win Mystery Skype. Do the Rocky Mountains run through your state? No.
I mean, really, it takes a team to do anything in life. And this is a chance for them to experience that collaboration.
Are you in Baja California? No.
You can see those light bulbs going off and just that connection that they're making. How better to do that than to actually connect with other kids all over the world?
Do you have dry weather? Yes, we do have
Technology empowers our class to be enabled to learn beyond our four walls. I'm just a passionate educator who wants to make an impact for kids. I'll take risks to try to expand their learning beyond what they could have imagined.
Are you in Mexico City? Yes, we are.
So hopefully you guys were able to see that. That's a really good introduction or explanation. You literally, and on these virtual field trips and as speakers, you're literally talking to these experts. So I saw one where we were down in a submarine doing excavations on the bottom of the ocean with one of the researchers, and they're just explaining what they're doing and why.
The other thing about Mystery Skype is that you can also do, and I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later. We may be getting ahead of ourselves, but it's okay. You can also do not just Mystery Skype like you just saw with a classroom, but you can do Mystery Skype with a profession. And we tried to set one up for tonight and it just didn't work. But it was a biologist in Australia. So imagine going through, first of all, figuring out where he was, and then secondly, figuring out what he does. And so if you're playing 20 questions or whatever you choose to do, you can, that Mystery Skype can be used as an amazing, you could even do mystery biome. So pick a biome, I just think the possibilities are endless. We took some time here, and this is not an expensive list. We just wanted to give you some examples of how you could use these things in your courses almost immediately.
Yeah, so we'll send this out. They are hyperlinked onto the pages. And I apologize, like we could not get that blue line out of the middle of the slide. So it's in the template and I couldn't get it out of there. So forgive the blue mark. But these would all be, either field trip, guest speaker, lesson, and these should all, be something close to what you might be teaching. And honestly, they can be used as an interest approach throughout any type of curriculum. There's ways of linking anything really that you're doing to some of these topics at the fundamentals of your class. So, don't ever be afraid to use something as an interest approach and really get the kids on board with whatever you're teaching. So we just wanted to give you something to start off on in case that website was a little too intimidating, so that you could go here and maybe pick something that you're doing and immediately go to that. So these would be hyperlinked once you get this. So Mystery Skype, this is what Chris and I, we really are into Mystery Skype. They recommended that you kind of set it up so, there is some kind of format that, you instruct your kids ahead of time. You either have moderators or you have one person asking a question or one or two people asking a question at one time. You can use a format of 20 questions, yes or no answers. And it's just really neat. It gets the kids thinking outside the classroom and thinking globally, thinking outside of their constraints. So I think that's one of those things where we, really got our attention, and then you really start diving into the complexity and the opportunities within this platform. And as they grow this, I can see it being used pretty heavily, but then also, just like with everything, overuse is, can be detrimental as well. So, you can overuse something, and as great as it may be, it's still an overuse of a platform technology or whatever you want to look at it. So,
just to piggyback on that a little bit, some of the things that they suggested were having mappers, and I just think of how cool that is if you have a map and you're answering your 20 questions and then you're crossing off, so you're not on the East Coast or the West Coast, or what hemisphere you're in, or whatever it may be. So students as mappers, you could have students as different reporters, you could have live tweeters, whatever, photographers, just to give more students roles in the Mystery Skype. But we think this is really exciting. Actually, Di and I had an idea while we were there. It's possible. It's just going to take time. We would love to set up an agricultural education network of Mystery Skypes. So if I want to call someone in South Dakota, and then we'll figure out about South Dakota, and then my students would have a Pennsylvania ag presentation, and then we would get a South Dakota ag presentation back. We think that would be such a cool thing to open our students' minds to the big world that's out there.
is there any questions out there? I don't think we got to all of them because there's a couple second feedback until I got that video started, so I apologize. Any questions?
Michael, did you want to ask your question?
I just had a question about why are the people who participate in this, why are they doing it? That's just a curiosity thing. Are they employed to do this, or are they just people who sign up and just be you know what, I don't mind talking to a bunch of kids today about what I'm doing, and then randomly they just tell us what they're doing?
Yeah, it's totally on a volunteer basis.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any sort of vetting process so we don't get a bunch of weirdos or something in our classroom?
The vetting process, I think, comes through once you get it established and you have some communication one-on-one. That's where I think it comes through. I would assume that there's follow-up on the other side. I will check that out. Krista, what was your experience when you set up this first one? I have yet to get a couple of mine scheduled.
My experience, well, not necessarily experience when you set that up, but when you sign up as for your own profile, they ask you if you have any field, like they ask you if you're willing to do the other side as well. And then there's a series of questions that you answer. And right away, when I signed up, I got 3 emails, one that explained what was expected of me, one that explained what was expected of the presenter, and I cannot remember what the third one was, but I know I got 3 emails. So I think that obviously they're on top of things, but I don't know necessarily, other than filling out the profile and saying these are my expert, this is what I'm an expert in, or I say I'm an expert in, and this is what I get. That's a really good question.
Gotcha.
I have a question as well, actually. So for the mystery Skype classroom experience, so the teacher schedules it beforehand with another teacher, and do they get to pick the like region and stuff that they want, or is that kind of just left up to like whatever randomly appears?
That's a good question, because I thought it was a mystery too. I mean, I thought it was just a random thing also, but you actually go in and say, this is who I want to Skype with. So the teacher totally knows everything. And then the only thing you have to share with them is your Skype username. And so you're actually picking it. So you know exactly what you're getting.
Okay. And then can you like communicate with the teacher and say like, okay, I want to play the 20 questions game, but after that, I want to talk about this specific like environmental science within your country or your state or whatever it is. Is that kind of how it's set up, do you think?
Absolutely. Actually, yeah, with the one that I do have set up, they require that you do a test ahead of time, so you don't have any technological issues. And at that point, that's when you're chatting and figuring out the logistics of the day. So it's not just like a cold call that you don't really know what's about to happen. So it's more planned than it seems to the kids, I believe. Because I know when we were sitting there, it didn't feel like it was planned at all. It just felt like we were randomly chatting with these kids in Atlanta or wherever they were. We didn't know, but it's a really cool thing. And I just think, I don't know about all schools, but I know we don't seem to teach geography at all anymore. They're not even certain that New York is north of Pennsylvania. And so even United States geography, the importance of that is unbelievable. And then when you get to cross oceans, it even gets better. Another thing, Di and I were able to have a national, this doesn't have to do with Skype and this website, but we were able to do a national FFA showdown, National FFA Week showdown. She made this awesome Kahoot, and then my class played her class, and it was a lot of fun. So if anyone wants to get in on the game next year, I think we still got a couple available spots. But it was a lot of fun. And another thing that I was able to do recently with Skype, and this again isn't through the website, but my mom went to Haiti, which she does all the time, and she actually Skyped in and took us around the orphanage, and we got to see the kids and see the pastor, and it was a pretty spectacular thing. So I know that we all know people who get to go places. We may not be those people that get to go places, but if we can do anything to bring those places to our kids, we are making them better in the long run. The more that we can do to open their eyes. I'll never forget, and I know this sounds crazy because it was only to Louisville, but I will never forget, one of my kids got off the bus one year from the national convention, and he said, "Thanks so much for taking me. I had no idea there was that big world out there." And so just imagine every time that we can bring our kids in, what we're doing for our society as a whole. We're just opening their eyes and letting them see what's out there. Off my soapbox, moving on.
No, it's super duper important. I mean, we're all privileged because we've traveled in our careers and our college experiences. And there are plenty of kids out there that haven't ever gotten out of county borders.
Yep.
So if there's no other questions about Skype, I mean, we can always come back to it. Our presentation's kind of twofold. And
Okay, we're about to shift gears and talk about literacy. So again, if anyone has any questions, you don't have to be quiet. Please feel free to shout them out. We just wanted to share some literacy strategies with you that have worked in the past and some cool things that we enjoy. So, Di, if you could click. This is weird. I need my clicker.
I'm your clicker.
Okay. A little known secret is, believe it or not, that every time a student is reading, writing, or speaking about content, you are working to improve their literacy. I think sometimes we get pretty wrapped up in the fact that literacy is only writing or only reading, but it's not true. It's processing. And so whatever we can do to make them process our content is improving their literacy.
Should I advance?
Click. Yes.
Did you say click?
Okay. We just have a couple examples here that we're going to share with you. And I did send you all an email right before this started. So all of these and plus more are on here. I just wanted to go over a couple. So partner highlighting is probably one of my favorites. And basically the kids just have an article and they highlight what is important to them and then switch. You can switch papers or switch markers. It doesn't matter. Some people switch markers. I mean, that's what this says. Switch markers. And then if you have two choices, either someone obviously highlight something that's different from what you think, then you need to highlight it in a new color on your paper. And then if both partners have the same thing, you star it to make sure that it's really important. And that's after a class discussion. Again, the kids in this case are reading and talking about the content, which is creating a lot of discussion. And the more times they go over things, the more likely it is for them to stick in their heads. Click. Coding the margins is another great one. Has anyone ever used this before? Oh, maybe it's a pain in the butt to unmute to tell me. It's okay. So what you do is you give them a reading and you can see the codes. There are many other examples of coding the margins and you can use whatever you want. But the 4 that I use is a smiley face, which means I already know this, an exclamation point, which is interesting, a question mark means I never heard of this before, and a star means I think this is probably important. Then you follow again with a class discussion, collect the articles, and you can use this at the beginning of a unit, and you can say, okay, I know where my students stand pretty well, because you know where they stand because they, you know what they put as question marks. Click.
I have a question, Krista.
Yeah.
How, when you're selecting an article, and maybe you'll go over this, maybe I'm just not giving you enough time, but how do you select an article that is appropriate for all the students in your class? Does that make sense?
It does. That's a good question, and I don't have a great answer other than article by article basis necessarily, just making sure. And it is certainly fine to differentiate that depending on what the population of your class looks like and give them different articles. And it certainly makes it easy to differentiate when you're doing these kind of things, because you can give them whatever you feel is important or appropriate for them. Mm-hmm. Click.
Look at that.
Okay. Next is, and I don't think this is going to work because did people leave? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I'm still here.
We're good. We're good.
Oh.
All 7 are here.
All right. We're going to try it. So now what did I do with my paper? This is I have, who has. So I sent everybody a card earlier today. Did you get it? Thumbs up. So you're going to have to unmute yourself and you need to pretend.
Yes.
Thank you. You need to pretend that you are exploding out of your seat. You need to jump up when you hear what you think is right. Is everybody ready?
Oh, geez. Okay.
I think so. I gotta find my answer actually.
I'm sorry, I caught you off guard. And I'm not really going to jump up because then you won't be able to see me.
Wait, how do you find your answer?
It was
Google.
in an email.
Like the PDF file?
No, I sent 2 emails. I was getting excited. I'm sorry.
There was one sent at 4:22, Evie. Look for one at 4:22.
We've got the timestamp.
Evie, you should know your answer.
But she won't know what it says. Oh, the answer. Oh, I don't have the answer. Sorry.
Evie, you know that answer.
I'm so confused. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
Let's just roll with it. And that's why I wanted you to do it the first time. It's okay. So I have first national FFA president. Who has 1928? Oh, I apologize. I screwed that up. I screwed up already. Who has 1928?
You.
It's me.
Nate.
Oh, Nate.
Oh,
Wait.
Oh, I gotcha.
No, Nate.
No,
Not
I
wait.
got- That's
Wait.
me.
so Nate, what does yours say? Okay, maybe this is a bad idea.
I know, I
It
got
says,
you.
hold on.
It says
I'll-
the year FFA was founded.
I'll pretend to be Nate. Nate,
Okay.
does everybody see Nate's answer? Nate says, I have the year FFA was founded. So we all know that that's 1928. So
Okay.
when AP said 1928, I jump up and say, that's me. That's the year
Uh-huh.
FFA was founded.
I
Wow.
was totally thinking it was the other way around. I was
Okay.
waiting for somebody to
Okay.
So now Nate would
ask what the
say,
national colors were.
oh,
right.
gotcha.
Nate, we're going to start over. Are you ready?
Okay, give me.
Okay.
All right, take 2. Let's
Who
go.
has 1928?
I have the year FFA was founded. Who has national blue and corn gold?
Ooh. Good facial expressions. Good facial expressions.
Evie.
I have the national FFA colors, but I don't know my question.
Who?
It's right beside it.
No, like I don't have it in my email.
It's 1969. Just say, who has
So
1969?
then who has 1969?
Or I have the year. I have the year that females were allowed in the FFA. Who has the plow?
Good.
I have the plow. I'm the vice president's station marker. Who has the Pledge of Allegiance? Did you guys not hear me?
Matt Snyder. Matt Snyder. Go.
Wait.
I have the FFA salute. Who has the FFA motto?
I have the FFA motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve. Who has EM Tiffany?
Huh?
Kayla Hack, it's you if you don't know that.
She here?
She is, but she's driving.
Oh, she got caught.
All right, I'll be Kayla. I have who wrote the FFA creed. Who has Leslie Applegate?
I have the first national FFA president. Woo! I apologize.
Yeah.
No, but that's good though. I mean, it's good to run through those things, and now you guys can see how it works. So
It is. And I would go with something that everybody knows and make it really easy the first time, because obviously it's confusing the first time, but it is
Yes.
a fun game. And what I would do is, you can see the challenge at the bottom is you time the class and then mix up the cards, because obviously they're going to know their card after they did it one time. Mix up the cards and then see if they can beat their time, because they really are hearing and speaking about content again. Make sense?
Yeah.
Hey, Krista, have you ever used that with parliamentary procedure?
I have not,
That'd be amazing.
but I think I will, and then I'll send it to you, Dr. Foster. Maybe
I can't wait to try it out on my fall class.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. It really would.
I'll try it. I'm teaching Partly Pro like next week, so I'll
There
try.
you go. Could you have that ready for practice in the morning, Miranda?
Tomorrow morning?
I'm kidding.
I don't know about that.
Okay, click. Click again. Okay. Draw the procedure. This one is something that, unclick. This is something that is great for labs, and I learned this at the DuPont Academy, and I love to do this because we all know, you've all been there, you hear or you give kids a procedure and you go over the directions. What questions do you have? Nobody has any questions, and then you let them go and 10 kids ask questions. How many of you have had that happen? You don't even have to answer because I know you did. That's what they do. So if you front load it a little bit with drawing the procedure, and what I like to do is give them the procedure. They have to draw it using only symbols or numbers, pictures, no words. So they draw the procedure, and then they have to put the procedures away and say it to someone else. And in saying it to someone else, they may realize they don't realize, they messed something up. So they fix it. What I like to do sometimes is I like to tell them that they're going to have to do the lab from the procedure that they drew. It's interesting because then they realize that we need to make sure this makes sense. So it's a great one for lab procedures, and I really do like that one. Next. And this one is click tic-tac-toe. Vocabulary tic-tac-toe. So you just you need a minimum of 10 vocab words. Of course you want way more than that, but you need at least 10. You make a tic-tac-toe board. I think you all get this. You have them put the tic-tac or the vocab words, on the grid. And then in order to win, what they have to do is they have to either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally write a sentence that makes sense, a high quality sentence, as a ticket out the door, and obviously there can be more winners than one, or as a whatever you're doing. But it's a really neat way to see kids connect vocab terms and make sure that they understand what they're doing make sure that they have an understanding of them. Click. I just have a couple last ones I want to share. Sticky note reading is one of my favorites. So let's say we have a reading that we have to do. I'll give them 5 sticky notes, and I'll tell them to write a question about something, a question that could be answered. So they read that, they read something in their reading, a question that they're going to find the answer right on that page. So they write the question on the sticky note and stick it on the page where the answer can be found. After they're done with their reading, they swap books or swap packets, whatever it is. They swap with someone else, and then the someone else answers the questions, and then after they answer the question, they hand it back to the owner to correct them. So that, if you think about it, the student is actually processing the same information 3 times. They're reading it, they're writing a question, and then they are checking the answer from someone else. Again, repetition is going to make for more literate students. Make an icon. This is really hard to see, I think. This is one of the icons. Miranda, you can't say what it is. This is one of the icons from food science. Can anyone, and basically just after you're finished with a concept, you can have them make icons about 5 different things, or an icon as a ticket out the door. Can anyone get what this is? It's a type of cheese. Anybody get it? I know my thing's so tiny. It's Limburger cheese. I think it's hilarious, but I think it's funny. Anyway. And the last one is picture matching. Can you just make the screen of me instead of that PowerPoint? Thank you. I don't know why I didn't do that before. Maybe not.
I think it's as large as I can get it right now.
Can you
We
stop?
make our screens bigger on our own, like on our own?
Oh, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well then, look at this funny thing. Okay, that's my Limburger cheese. And the last one that I like to do, so I have vocabulary words in my little pill thing here. See what I'm doing? Okay. Little vocab words. Okay. And there's more than the pictures. And then I have pictures that represent them. And what I like about this, so to start this activity, we'll get into teams and we will match the vocabulary words to the pictures. Okay. And then they'll actually do the reading. And what that does is when they get to the word in the reading, it pulls it right out to them and they're able to comprehend it better because they've already become familiar with it and they know it's important and they're going to pay attention a little bit more. So that is and students really seem to like it. It's not hard and there's nothing exciting about it, but they seem to like it for what it's worth. So, click.
Give me a second.
Okay, I apologize.
There you go.
Okay. The last thing we want to know real quickly, and I'm sorry that we took so much time, I wasn't planning on talking this long, is how will you use this information in your classroom? Hopefully you will be able to take some of this and some of these literacy strategies and Skype in the classroom and use it right away. And if you can't and you need any help, click again. Mrs. Corman and I would be happy to help you. So there's her cell phone number and there's my cell phone number. And I was trying to find a funny educational comic and that's not really that funny, but we're just going to go with it for now. Because obviously we want to create literate, globally minded students who are going to make a difference in our world. And hopefully using some of these strategies that we talked about today will help you do that. Does anyone have any questions?
Student teachers, you have two very seasoned ag teachers that have lots of experiences with technology and literacy, come from two schools that are very supportive of their programs and they get to do a lot. So please ask any questions you have right now. Michael, I see you're unmuted. Do you have one?
I'm thinking of one now as we speak. I think when I think about literacy, kind of going back to what you asked, Dr. Rice, about differentiation, like I don't want like students to be in my class and just be like bored, you know, while other students, you know, some of these literacy strategies will really help some students, but then other students are going to be like, are you serious? Like I have to do this? Like, how do you deal with that sort of that reaction from students, or maybe you don't get that reaction from students?
I think that's a good question, and a lot of it's in how it's packaged. I don't think that it should be your teaching strategies necessarily. I mean, I don't think it's the meat and potatoes, but it is a supplement to help students understand. And I can't say that I know a lot of people say it's coloring or, you know, whatever, but I can't say that I've gotten a lot of pushback necessarily, because kids, even though, and I'm a terrible drawer, and I would love to pull up my pathetic drawings and let them see it. And so kids like to use other parts of their brain, and they really like to be creative, even though sometimes they don't always know they do. And so I personally haven't gotten a lot of pushback necessarily to say that, but and I mean it's okay to differentiate things, I guess. Like, I mean, I know me as a student, if I had to pick coding the margins or an intense reading, you know, I know I'm going to understand it better, but I don't know. I'm not 18 either. So.
And if I can piggyback on what Chris is saying is, you know, I know as like a 15-year veteran, it's a little bit easier for me to say this, but you have to also be a little bit willing, once you get yourself established as a new teacher, to not be afraid to fail a little bit. Like, you know, you have to be able to, you know, it's all about the packaging. It's all about the relevance of what they're doing. You have to say that, you know, look, you're going to be put in situations that might be awkward in the future. You know, this is just a way to bring everybody on board. You know, make those skeptics in the room who might be your higher academic kids, you know, empower them to be your leaders in the classroom, you know, have them, you know, paired up with someone who might be struggling. So a lot of times it's just how you restructure the kids in your class. And, you know, it's surprising, even some of the lower academic students that may struggle, they might be the ones stepping up to the plate. And nobody in a classroom or any group of humans like to be left behind. And if they see someone who normally isn't that outspoken student jumping right in there, everyone's going to kind of follow suit. It might take one or two of these types of activities, but it will happen. So, and, you know, like here I am right now in a new unit, in a new class that I'm teaching, a second level veterinary science class, and we just did a brand new activity, and I literally sat with my kids today and be like, okay, if I was going to do this next time, what would make it better? And, you know, you probably don't want to do that maybe your first year teaching, because you have to establish that level of, you know, respect and authority, and just get yourself planted. But like as time goes on, you'll be able to have those kind of conversations, and the students will understand eventually, even if you're in like a semi-hostile environment, you know, your first couple years, that, you know, you are there to try to better their situation. So hopefully any piece of this advice will help, but that's what I would add to that. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have another question, sorry. So Krista, you have used the Skype in your classrooms. You have done that, or do you just have it set up?
The actual field trip?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Next Friday will be my
okay. I just was gonna ask how like were students receptive to that, or but that was if you maybe
I will be glad to have Miranda report that next time.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that for you.
Thank you.
The one thing we did do with our Skype that we did between our two classes, that was kind of our experiment with just kind of shoving our kids straight into something. My kids were I actually hijacked one of Mr. Fellenbaum's classes because I didn't have a lot of mainstream kids in my current class. And so it was actually, I even hijacked another ag class in order to make that happen. And the kids at first were reluctant, kind of like what one of you guys were asking about. They were reluctant at first, but they totally got into it. And they like something out of the ordinary. And, you know, this is out of the ordinary. And you're not always going to have someone at the bottom of the ocean chimed in. So it's just something different. It's something to kind of go out of the norm. So they are receptive to it. And that was kind of like our little experiment prior to kind of doing some of these, is we wanted to see how the kids reacted. And it was positive.
Especially if there's competition involved.
Yeah.
Can't ever go wrong with competition.
Can't ever go wrong with that. Yeah.
I'm a little bit afraid to do like the Skype just because the internet at our school doesn't seem like it's very good at all. Like it's slow. And so I don't really necessarily, maybe I should try it. I should try it just by myself to get it set up. But
so if you would just want to call one of us to see if it works.
Yeah.
Because actually, well, how I started Skyping was when we had a parliamentary procedure team and our dang chairman went to Montana State, of all places. So we started Skyping parliamentary procedure practice. And I've done that twice now. And that's how I started. And so I was nervous too, you just don't know. But if you want to call us, just go ahead. We'd be glad just to say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
Okay.
seriously. And
Yeah.
if Chris's schedule doesn't line up, Skype in with us. So
Yeah, yeah. And we can be mysteries. We can be from wherever you want us to be.
we can run you.
Yeah.
Give us some time to prep, and we'll be right there.
Yeah, and we'll come up with it. But
Yeah,
yeah, seriously, just this is your time to screw up as student teachers. Do it now. Yeah, before you're in your own classroom. Like let your cooperating teacher take the heat. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Seriously.
Oh, I don't know if that's great advice for me right now.
Okay, let me take the heat. I'll take it. Okay? Seriously though. But we'd love to if you want to try.
Any last questions for Ms. Corbin or Ms. Pontius? A lot of valuable information shared tonight, a lot of strategies that you can implement tomorrow in your classes, a lot of things to think about as new ways to integrate different experiences into your classes, different people from across the nation and world. So please make sure that you capitalize on some of this stuff and reach out to them. They're really good resources for lots of different things besides Skype and literacy strategies, but definitely if you have questions, reach out to them. I know they're happy to help you. So let's thank Ms. Pontius and Ms. Corbin. Thank you. Everyone say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So with that, we're going to continue on with our meeting, and Diane and Kristen are welcome to stay, but they certainly don't have to. So let me share my screen now here. Nope. Which one is it? Okay. Do you guys see it now? Do you see my, Abby, get off your phone.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh,
Yeah, I got it.
gotcha. Sorry, Abby. I wasn't yelling at you. It just said your phone was up there. All right. Moving on. Highlights from the weekly student teacher cooperating teacher survey. Good stuff. A lot of good stuff that was shared this week. Some of the big things that were shared out. Student engagement. They're really impressed with some of the strategies that you're utilizing. Some of the ways that you're kind of stepping outside your comfort zone and getting students engaged. I know that some of you have expressed in your blogs that like engagement is something you want to keep trying to facilitate or try new things. So keep at it. They are noticing that you're trying, and they are noticing that students are engaged. So keep up the good work. Definitely some student rapport happening that they're really proud of and really happy to see. At this point, hopefully you have developed some student rapport. And sometimes when you have student rapport, it makes your classes go a lot smoother, especially when you try new things like Skype or whatever it is. When you have that student rapport, it usually helps the new facilitation strategy go a little smoother. Last is timeliness. Timeliness in the sense of what you're teaching, how you're teaching it, and timeliness in the sense of you being professionals and getting to school, being there whenever they can't be, and just doing a good job overall. Really proud of you guys for that. There's always some room for improvement, whether in your first year teaching, student teaching, or in your fifth year teaching, just like Ms. Corman just shared. Some things that were kind of highlighted this week was time management. This kind of spanned across a couple areas. One, just making sure that you're utilizing your class time appropriately, not stretching out activities too long. Make sure you're keeping an eye on the time, making sure you're teaching from bell to bell. So different ways that this can be applied, but just make sure that you are focused on the time whenever you're in the class, and making sure that the time that you're providing for whether an activity or an assignment, that you are cognizant of the time and the time that you are providing for them to complete it. This is the first I think I've ever had to share this, is classroom and an instructional space cleanliness. Just making sure that you're holding students accountable. It's not so much you're making it messy or you're not cleaning up after yourself, but maybe you're not making your students do that. So just make sure that you are, whether it be shop, your classroom, whatever instructional space that you're in, that you make sure the students are held to a higher standard of cleaning up after themselves. And last but not least, just classroom management is always something to be working and refining, making sure that you're utilizing and knowing and understanding the school policies, and trying different strategies and knowing what works and what doesn't work, and just constantly improving that. And that's something that is not said that it's not said in the sense that there are students that you're not able to handle your classes. It's saying like, hey, this is an area to always to work on and improve. It takes years to develop those kind of strategies. So with that, what questions or comments or concerns do you have from those highlights? Feel free to shout out. Okay, we're gonna move on then. I guess open call. Any concerns, questions, thoughts about anything? Last time we saw you on Friday, Thursday night and Friday. Hopefully you had a great time on those 2 professional development opportunities. I know a lot of you are probably coming back after a lot of days off, and so it's probably an exhausting week. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments.
It is. This is Daniel. I'd like to share a couple things. It is interesting that this faculty meeting occurred so closely to our seminar, but it's a good opportunity for us to touch base and share a couple of things, I suppose. I believe that our next faculty meeting that Dr. Ross will propose, one of the things we'll be doing is reviewing the itinerary of the post-internship seminar. Dr. Ross, that is for the next one, not for tonight, correct?
I can hold off. I did prepare something for tonight, but I can hold off and share it next time.
It's up to you. I just was looking at the time. But the 3 things that I wanted to bring to your attention. One, first off, Dr. Ross, is all the students still on?
No, Kayla had to sign off.
So Matt Ryder is still on?
Yes. Well, his icon is still here, yes.
I'm here.
He's here.
I'm listening.
Well, Matt can clarify anything that he wants to fix. I want to commend him. He is attempting to help make environmental science more engaging by cultivating a digital community that responds for his environmental science classes at Tyrone. He's developed a blog. So some of you, I would just want to make the suggestion that you think about sharing and trying to create where your classes at these different communities are perhaps collating around some of these topics and concepts. I took his blog and sent it out to some of the faculty members at Penn State. It's always amazing how a little background work by a teacher can make a high school kid feel like what they're doing matters and other people care about it just by getting people to respond. So I wanted to commend him for that and bring that to your attention. I also wanted you all to know, I know it's difficult when some of you are further away than others, but I made a little Facebook group event for the first time through Teach Ag, and for that seminar for Clyde McBride. And they're going to be here Monday night at 6 p.m. in 102 Thomas. And I really enjoy it. Welcome you and your students even. Whoever you want to come. We had a Teach Ag Society meeting last night, and I was telling them, I said, James, I wish I could tell you I was good enough to plan this. Really, we just got lucky, and I truly don't think that we're ever going to be able to pull this off again. The concept of 2 teachers with 15 or so of their kids from the Navajo Reservation talking about the impact of school-based ag education, specifically on vet sciences. So I would encourage you, everybody's welcome. It's an open seminar that we've invited university-wide, and I'd appreciate your help getting the word out. I will be honest to admit that the thing that scares me the most is to have this opportunity and then have like 3 people sitting in the auditorium. And you know that's tough for Penn State University events sometimes to get an audience. And each of you have your own network of a lot of people across the university in the area. So go into that Facebook event and invite your friends to them. Let them know they're invited. I'd love to have them there. And the last thing they talked about last night that I wanted to bring to your attention was, of course, the domestic study away. And you guys know about it. I don't have to spell it to you, but I want you to know you're welcome. And that Rose will be sending out an application by the end of this week. And it looks like they're going to anticipate it costing $500. But we don't want money to be the reason somebody doesn't go. And so we'll do absolutely a payment program. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. They have a lot of good plans, and there you go. So thank you for letting me share those, Dr. Ross.
Sure. Good stuff. So hopefully you can make it for that, and definitely consider the DSA. All right, if there's no questions or concerns, we're going to move on. Tweet of the week. Loved Evie's tweet from her floral class. I love flowers, so that was kind of a give me. But then I also love Matt's picture of a lab that he conducted with burning forages, different feedstuffs. So I thought those were great. Should really depict what true ag classes look like. And then down at the bottom there, I attended the TLT, and you all had the opportunity to sign up. It was this past weekend. Michael and Matthew went, as well as George. And this was a tweet that Foster put out, but I don't know why the whole tweet didn't show up. But, sorry. But it was a really great time. We heard Sir Ken Robinson speak, and it was really an impactful presentation that he gave, but also just the strategies and different things that we learned while we were at the TLT were really good stuff. So if you ever have an opportunity to go again or to engage in some sort of technology conference like the Pete and C, like Diane and Krista talked about, I definitely think it's worth your time because technology can definitely help enhance instruction and can enhance your classroom. But good tech doesn't always substitute for good teaching. So if you can do that, if you can enhance your instruction with tech, that's great, but it shouldn't replace good teaching. So with that being said, some important dates. We're kind of winding down here, people. Lots of stuff going on, though. I know probably programmatically wise with you to each of your schools, but here's what we got going on. Tonight we have the 4th online faculty meeting. The PAAE regional meetings are starting. The Western region is this week. I think Evie is going. So I'll see Evie tomorrow night or Thursday night. And I also have put on here the new and beginning teacher meetings. You are invited to those, and those are meetings that can count for your center-funded professional development. I know some of you went to the SLLC workshops and are hoping to use those. But this is just new and beginning teachers. I think you'll find it really valuable to attend, and you'll usually leave with access to a lot of good stuff. So I encourage you to go. There will be more emails about that coming. We have 2 more online. Go ahead.
I have a question. Do we need to sign up for them like via email for you, or will we get emails in the future for that?
Yeah, so I'll be sending out emails probably next week. I'll probably send ones, and I know the ones before had said like RSVP like a week out. So you just got to let me know so we make sure we have enough seats and food depending on what.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. I hope to see you all there. 2 more online faculty meetings. Next time we'll have Dr. Kristen Stair from Louisiana. University of Louisiana?
Louisiana State University.
Louisiana State University. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. She probably would shoot me. And she's actually going to be speaking with us about differentiation, meeting the needs of all our students from IEPs to GIEPs. She's done some stuff at NAAE convention the last couple of years, and she's done some research on that. So we're excited to have her. So that's at our next meeting, which will be April 4th. With that, teacher thought of the week. This is actually a quote that I heard from Sir Ken Robinson during the TLT symposium, and I just thought it was a really good quote. So I made sure I took a note and looked it up for today. There are 2 kinds of teachers, the kind that fill you with so much quail shot that you can't move, and the kind that just gives you a little prod behind and you jump to the skies. So it's something to think about as you continue through this week and work through the last 5 weeks of your internship. But I thought this was a great quote, and I hope you take time to process that and think about it. With that, I will throw this up here. We'll talk more about it. Basically, April 24th through the 29th is your post-internships seminar. We'll be on campus on the 24th in the afternoon. More details to come. We have some stuff planned. 25th will be an all-day thing out at Mountain View Country Club, and then we leave early April 26th, the morning of April 26th, Wednesday, to head to the western part of the state. We're visiting a few schools, and we are visiting some industry, and then we're going to end up into Pittsburgh, where we're going to wrap up our inclusion seminar with Dr. Susie Whittington and Dr. Stacy Vincent. providing a workshop that kind of brings everything that we've learned about up to this point together and talking about meeting all of our student needs in inclusion and diversity. So it's going to be a great time. I have a more detailed agenda to provide to you. This is just giving you a general idea, but I hope that you see this and realize that the theme that is running throughout this is how important stakeholder groups, the community, is a part of agriculture education programs. So I'll elaborate more on that later, but this is basically an overview of what's happening that week. So you do need to make sure that you have no plans from April 24th to the 29th. We'll probably get back no later than like 10 p.m. on the 29th. But then, like Dr. Foster mentioned at our seminar on Friday, that following week, which is typically a week that we do programming, we're giving back to you. So that's all I got, folks. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but if not, you all look very tired tonight. So next meeting is April 4th from 5 to 6:30. I'll see Miranda tomorrow. What time do you start again?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Dr. Foster.
Safe travels.
Fun. That was an interesting use of technology for me. I just called in, and luckily Melanie was driving, but it didn't disconnect between State College and Harrisburg, and we just got the giant at Harrisburg. But I hope that wasn't too painful. Did I have a lot?